Welcome to my channel Karma Romance Stories. Please like, subscribe for more videos.
Have you ever been betrayed by the very person you sacrificed everything to protect? Imagine standing outside your own granddaughter's wedding while your own son looks you in the eyes and says you are not on the list. 200 guests watch in silence. They think they are seeing a week-old widower. What they do not know is that I already uncovered a shocking conspiracy to steal my company, fake my illness, and lock me away forever. Stay until the end because what happened inside that wedding changed every life forever. For 40 years I built my business from nothing. I worked 7 days a week while my wife stood beside me through every victory and every failure. Together we created a company worth $50 million. We dreamed that one day our children and grandchildren would continue the family legacy with honesty, respect, and love. Everything changed the day my wife passed away. The house became silent. The family stopped visiting as often. My son suddenly became interested in my finances. He offered to help with my appointments, my paperwork, and my investments. At first I believed he was simply trying to care for his grieving father. Then small things started happening. Important documents disappeared from my office. My accountant received strange instructions that never came from me. My doctor called asking why I wanted a complete mental evaluation. I never requested one. That was the first moment I realized something was terribly wrong. Instead of confronting my son, I remained silent. I hired one of the best private investigators in the country. I also informed my attorney and my longtime financial advisor. Together we quietly began collecting evidence. Within weeks the truth was worse than I could have imagined. My son had secretly met with lawyers who specialized in conservatorship cases. He planned to convince a court that I was mentally unfit to manage my affairs. Once declared incompetent, he would gain control over my company, my investments, my properties, and every dollar I owned. Even worse, he had convinced several relatives that I was becoming forgetful and confused. Every family gathering became another opportunity for them to collect stories that could be twisted against me. They believed I was too heartbroken after losing my wife to notice. They were wrong. Every phone call was documented. Every email was saved. Every forged signature was examined by experts. Every secret meeting was photographed. Months later, my granddaughter announced her wedding. I loved that little girl more than words could express. I promised her grandmother before she passed away that I would always protect her. I bought the wedding venue anonymously so the young couple would never have to worry about expenses. I paid for the flowers, the music, the catering, and even the honeymoon through a family trust that nobody knew I controlled. My granddaughter never knew where the money came from. Then the invitations were mailed. Mine never arrived. A week before the ceremony, I asked my granddaughter if everything was ready. She smiled and said she could not wait to see me there. That single sentence confused me. If she expected me to attend, why had I received no invitation? The answer arrived on wedding day. I walked toward the entrance wearing the suit my wife loved most. Before I reached the doors, my son stepped in front of me. He folded his arms and spoke loudly enough for everyone nearby to hear. "You are not on the guest list." People turned and stared. He said the family had agreed that I was too emotional and might embarrass everyone. He told security not to let me enter. The silence around us was painful. Some guests looked away. Others whispered. My son smiled with confidence because he believed he had already won. Then I smiled. I calmly thanked him for making this moment so public. I removed my phone from my pocket and made one call. Within minutes my attorney arrived carrying several sealed folders. Behind him came my accountant, then the private investigator. Finally, 2 detectives entered the venue. Every conversation stopped. My attorney asked everyone for 5 minutes before the ceremony continued. The bride looked confused. The groom looked nervous. My son suddenly stopped smiling. The attorney opened the first folder. Inside were bank records showing unauthorized attempts to transfer company ownership. The second folder contained medical forms proving someone had tried to arrange false evaluations, declaring me mentally incompetent. The third folder contained recorded conversations discussing how to isolate me from friends, employees, and business partners. The detectives confirmed that several signatures had been forged. The private investigator displayed photographs from secret meetings. Every lie collapsed in front of 200 stunned guests. My granddaughter burst into tears. She turned toward her father and asked one simple question. Why? He had no answer. He looked around hoping someone would defend him. Nobody moved. Then my attorney handed me one final document. It was a revised estate plan completed weeks earlier. I announced that every honest employee would receive generous bonuses. Several charitable foundations would receive millions of dollars. My granddaughter would inherit enough to secure her future. My son, however, would receive nothing except the legal consequences of his own actions. The room became completely silent. For the first time since losing my wife, I felt peace. Money had never been my greatest achievement. Character was. The wedding continued exactly as planned. I proudly walked my granddaughter down the aisle because that was the role my late wife always dreamed I would have. Every guest stood and applauded, not because of wealth, not because of revenge, because truth had finally defeated betrayal. That day I learned something my wife always believed. Family is not defined by blood. Family is defined by loyalty, honesty, and love. Those who try to steal everything often lose the one thing money can never buy: respect. If someone betrays your trust, never respond with anger. Respond with patience, truth, and preparation. Lies may win for a short time, but evidence lasts forever. The greatest victory is not destroying those who hurt you. It is protecting your dignity while letting the truth speak for itself. Thank you for watching, and remember that integrity will always outlive greed.